If this forbidden book found you tonight, if this forbidden book has found you tonight, it is no accident. There is a reason these words reached you before sleep, a reason you clicked at this exact moment, a reason something inside you paused and whispered, maybe this is the one, because deep down you already know the truth. You are not tired because life is impossible. You are tired because you have been waking up inside the same identity, the same expectations, the same emotional patterns, and calling it reality. But tonight that pattern begins to loosen. This is not ordinary motivation. This is not another speech telling you to try harder, force more, or chase your dream life with exhausted hands. The forbidden book teaches something far more dangerous. Most people fail to shift into their desired reality because they try to escape their current life while falling asleep as the same person who belongs to it. They want a new reality, but they sleep in the old assumption. They want a new life, but they carry the old fear into bed. They want the universe to open a new door, but their identity is still standing in the old room. Tonight, you will learn a different way. You will learn the sleep gate, the identity key, and the bridge technique that carries your mind from the old reality into the desired one, not through pressure, not through desperation, not by begging the universe for proof, but by entering sleep as the version of you your desired reality already recognizes. This book was never meant to be read only with the eyes. Its pages do not turn under your fingers. They turn behind your closed eyes in the silent space between waking and dreaming. Its ink is feeling, its language is assumption, its key is identity. So listen with an open mind, do not fight the words. Do not try to force an experience. Let this transmission move beneath your thoughts into the deeper chamber of your being, where old realities dissolve and new ones begin. Before we begin, write these words in the comments, or whisper them quietly to yourself, I am ready. The first page now opens with an ancient truth. Reality is not as fixed as you were taught. And once you understand this, you will never fall asleep the same way again. Chapter 1. The Ancient Truth. Reality is not fixed. The first page of the forbidden book does not begin with a spell. It begins with a question. What if the reality you are trying so hard to escape is not as solid as you were taught? What if your life is not only made of events, bills, messages, memories, jobs, relationships, and places? What if your current reality is also made of something far more invisible? The self you keep rehearsing, the story you keep sleeping inside, the emotional room your mind returns to every night. And what if, before your outer world changes, that inner room must be entered, seen, and gently left behind? This is why the forbidden book was hidden. Not because it contained magic words, not because it promised power without responsibility, but because it revealed a truth most people are not ready to hear. You are not only living in reality, you are participating in it. Long before the modern world spoke of the subconscious mind, visualization, self-concept, or identity shifting, ancient teachers guarded a dangerous idea. They believed the outer world and inner world were not separate. They believed the mind was not merely watching life happen. It was helping select the version of life being experienced. And among those who studied the hidden laws, there was one phrase passed quietly from teacher to student. The world you wake into is shaped by the self you fall asleep as. To understand this, imagine an ancient scholar walking alone beneath a desert sky. The night is silent, the sand is cold beneath his feet. Above him, the stars burn like silver symbols written across the darkness. For many years, this scholar had searched for one answer. Not where does the world begin, not where does the body begin, but where does the reality a person experiences begin? He had read scrolls in hidden libraries. He had listened to priests speak in temple chambers. He had studied numbers, dreams, sacred geometry, and the movements of the heavens. Still, something was missing. Then one night, an old master led him below an ancient temple, into a chamber no ordinary traveler had ever seen. There were no statues inside. No gold, no throne, no crown. Only a small flame burning beside a black book placed on a stone altar. The scholar approached the book with trembling hands. Its cover had no title. Its pages had no visible words. He opened it, expecting secret symbols, sacred formulas, the hidden names of the universe, but every page was blank. At first, he thought he had failed. He looked at the old master and whispered, "There is nothing here." The master shook his head. "There is nothing your eyes can read." The scholar frowned. "Then how can this be a book?" And the master replied, "Some books are written for the mind that argues. This one is written for the consciousness that listens." Then he gave the scholar one command. "Close your eyes." The scholar resisted. He had crossed deserts and oceans to find this book. He had sacrificed years of his life to stand before it. And now he was being told not to look. But finally he obeyed. He closed his eyes. The chamber became quiet. The flame became softer. His breathing slowed. His thoughts loosened. And behind his closed eyes, the first sentence appeared. Reality is not first entered by the body. Reality is first entered by the state of being. The scholar felt his entire body tremble, because in that moment he understood what he had missed. He had been trying to change the world while remaining the same person who kept meeting the world. He had been searching for doors outside himself, never realizing that every door first opened through the inner self that approached it. He had begged the universe for a different life while carrying the same fear into every night. He had asked for proof, signs, miracles, and openings. But the forbidden book gave him no sign. It gave him a mirror. This is the first ancient truth. Reality is not fixed in the way you were taught. This does not mean your world is fake. It does not mean your pain was imaginary. It does not mean your responsibilities disappear when you close your eyes. The forbidden book does not teach denial. It teaches participation. Your life is real enough to be felt. Your challenges are real enough to matter. Your past may have shaped you deeply, but the way you experience life is always filtered through the atmosphere within you. Two people can walk into the same room and enter two different worlds. One person sees silence and feels rejection. Another sees silence and feels peace. One person sees a delay and feels abandoned. Another sees a delay and feels protected. One person sees an opportunity and hears, "This is too big for me." Another sees the same opportunity and hears, "This may be the door." Same room, same moment, different inner atmosphere, different reality experienced. This is why the old teachers guarded this knowledge. Because once a person understands that the inner self participates in reality, that person can no longer remain powerless in the same way. They can no longer say, "Life is only happening to me." They must begin to ask, "What version of me keeps meeting life this way?" And this question changes everything. Because your current reality is not only your apartment, your job, your phone, your income, your relationships, or the city you live in. Your current reality is also the pattern your subconscious calls home. It is the expectation you wake up with. It is the old emotional weather you carry into every new day. It is the sentence you silently finish before life even speaks. "This always happens to me. I am always behind. People always leave. Money is always stressful. Nothing ever changes. I am almost there, but never chosen." At first, these sentences seem like thoughts, but repeated long enough, they become a room. And if you sleep inside that room every night, your subconscious begins to treat it as home. This is why many people try to enter a desired reality and fail. They want new circumstances, but they keep rehearsing the same self. They want new love, but fall asleep feeling unwanted. They want abundance, but fall asleep in fear of lack. They want confidence, but fall asleep replaying every moment they felt small. They want the universe to open a new door, but inside they are still standing in the old room, waiting to be rejected again. The forbidden book says this is where the shift begins, not by attacking the current reality, not by hating where you are, not by pretending your life has no weight, but by gently withdrawing your deepest sense of self from the pattern that has held you. You do not shift by despising the old world. You shift by no longer belonging to the version of you that keeps recreating it. There is a story written in the hidden margin of the first chapter. It is the story of a woman named Eleanor who lived in Boston in a small apartment above a narrow street. Every morning, pale light came through her window and touched the same unfinished notebook on her desk. In that notebook were plans for the life she wanted, a different career, a relationship that felt safe, a body that did not wake up already tense, a bank account that did not make her chest tighten every time she checked it. Eleanor was not lazy. She was not careless. She worked hard. She listened to podcasts on her way to the office. She wrote affirmations on sticky notes. She watched videos about manifestation, self-concept, and changing your life. But each night, when the city grew quiet, the truth returned. She went to bed feeling like the same woman. The woman who was almost chosen, almost ready, almost successful, almost loved, almost free. And every night she had the same dream. In the dream, Eleanor stood at the end of a long hallway. The walls were covered in faded wallpaper. The air smelled faintly of rain and old wood. At the end of the hallway was a dark wooden door with a brass handle that glowed softly in the moonlight. Behind that door, she could feel another life. She could not see it, but she could feel it. There was warmth there, there was laughter. There was a morning where she did not wake with dread. There was a version of herself who stood taller, breathed slower, and no longer apologized for wanting more. So she ran toward the door. She pushed it. It did not open. She begged. It did not move. She struck the wood with both hands. Still nothing. Night after night, the same dream returned. The hallway, the door, the life behind it, the refusal. And each morning, Eleanor woke with the same thought. Maybe this is just who I am. But one night, the dream changed. She stood before the door again. Same hallway, same moonlight, same brass handle. Her first instinct was to push, to demand, to beg the door to prove that she was worthy. But this time, something in her stopped. She remembered a line from the forbidden book, though she did not know where she had heard it. A door to a new world does not open for the old self that doubts it belongs there. So Eleanor lowered her hands. She stopped trying to force the door. She placed one palm over her heart and asked a different question. Who must I become to belong on the other side? The hallway went silent. The door did not open immediately, but Eleanor felt something inside her soften. She saw it clearly now. She had been arriving at the door as the woman who believed she was locked out. She had been carrying exclusion to the threshold of belonging. She had been asking the door to convince her she was worthy. But the door was waiting for her to stop arriving as someone who doubted she had the right to enter, so she stood still, she breathed, and she whispered, I am ready to become the woman who lives beyond this door. Then came a small sound, not thunder, not music, not a miracle from the sky, just a click. The lock turned, the door opened. And when Eleanor stepped through, she did not enter a fantasy world. She entered a feeling, calm, chosen, safe, certain, as if some part of her had finally stopped waiting outside her own life. The next morning, no dramatic miracle happened. No golden letter appeared under her door. No sudden message changed everything. No voice announced that reality had shifted. But something was different. She did not reach for her phone with the same anxious hunger. She did not check for proof before she even sat up. She made coffee slowly. She opened the window. She breathed as if the day was not already against her. Then she answered one email differently. She held one boundary differently. She spoke in one meeting with a little less apology in her voice. She stopped chasing one person who only gave her confusion. She applied for one opportunity she would have talked herself out of the week before. Small things, quiet things, but these small things were not small. They were evidence that a new self had begun moving through the old life. And because as Eleanor changed the self that met the world began to answer in a different tone. This is how the desired reality often begins, not as lightning, as a new response, not as proof outside, as permission inside, not as the world changing first. As you no longer feeding the version of yourself that kept the old world alive. You may know Eleanor's door. Perhaps your door is money. Perhaps it is love. Perhaps it is healing. Perhaps it is confidence. Perhaps it is a new career, a new home, a new city, a new body, a new way of waking up without fear sitting on your chest. Perhaps you have pushed on that door for years. You planned harder. You affirmed louder. You searched for signs. You watched one more video. You tried one more method. You told yourself, maybe tonight, maybe tomorrow, maybe next week, something will finally happen. But underneath all that effort, you were still approaching the door as the person who believed they might not be allowed in. And this is what the forbidden book asks you to see. The desired reality does not only respond to your wish, it responds to the self that approaches it. It responds to the feeling of belonging. It responds to the assumption you fall asleep wearing. It responds to the quiet inner permission that says, this life is natural for me now. So tonight before you sleep, do not ask only, how do I get my desired reality? Ask the deeper question. Who am I in the reality I desire? How does that version of me breathe? What does that version of me stop chasing? What does that version of me no longer fear? What does that version of me expect naturally? What does that version of me know before anyone confirms it? Because the first doorway is not outside you. It is the state you enter before sleep. Now take the first practice from the forbidden book. Tonight when you lie down, place one hand gently over your heart. Let your body become still. Let the room become quiet. Let the old day drift away from your shoulders. Then bring to mind the current reality you have been trying to leave. Do not attack it. Do not curse it. Do not fight it. See it as a room you have lived in, a room that taught you, a room that shaped you, a room that may have protected you once, but can no longer hold the person you are becoming. Then whisper, silently or out loud, I do not fight the old reality. Pause. I withdraw my identity from it. Pause again. I am ready to become the version of me who belongs beyond this door. Let those words sink beneath thought. Do not force an answer. Do not search for a sign. Do not demand that the universe prove anything tonight. Simply ask, what version of me is trying to be born through this sleep? Then let the question fall into the subconscious like a seed into dark soil. The seed does not need to prove itself. It only needs to be planted. And as you drift closer to sleep, remember the first ancient truth. Reality is not as fixed as you were taught. The old self is not a prison unless you keep sleeping inside it. The door is not locked because life is against you. It waits because the version of you who belongs beyond it must arrive. And tonight, that version is beginning to move. The first page is opened. The old reality has heard your footsteps leaving. And now, the forbidden book reveals the next secret. The most powerful portal between who you have been and who you are becoming opens when the body falls asleep. Chapter 2: Why Sleep is the Portal Between Realities. The forbidden book does not say the portal is somewhere far away. It does not say you must climb a mountain, enter a hidden temple, memorize an ancient language, or search for a secret door in the outside world. It says the portal appears every night, quietly, softly, in the same place most people stop paying attention: your bed, your breath, the final thoughts before sleep. The moment when the outside world grows dim, the body begins to release the day, and the mind stands at the edge of two realities. Most people waste this moment. They bring the entire day into bed with them. They bring the argument, the unpaid bill, the unanswered message, the fear that tomorrow will be the same, the memory of who did not choose them. The pressure of trying to become someone new while still feeling trapped inside the same old life. Then they close their eyes and wonder why their dreams feel heavy. They wonder why morning begins with the same tightness in the chest. They wonder why the desired reality feels distant, even after affirming, visualizing, and praying for change. But the forbidden book gives a simple warning. Do not use the final minutes before sleep to rehearse the reality you are trying to leave. Because the night does not ignore what you bring to it. The night receives, the night magnifies. The night carries your final inner state into the deeper chambers of the mind. To understand this, picture a man named Marcus living in Chicago. He works in a glass office building downtown, where the winter wind moves between the streets like something with teeth. Every morning, he wakes before sunrise already tired. Before his feet touch the floor, he reaches for his phone, emails, bills, messages, news, calendar reminders. By the time he stands up, his body already believes the day is a battle. Marcus wants a different life. He wants calmer mornings. He wants more money without constant panic. He wants work that does not drain him. He wants a relationship that feels warm instead of confusing. He wants to wake up without the first thought being, how am I going to get through this? So he tries to change. He writes goals in a notebook. He listens to motivational speeches while driving through traffic. He repeats affirmations in the mirror. He makes plans, then bigger plans, then stricter plans. But every night, without realizing it, Marcus carries the same world into bed. He brings the office into bed. He brings his bank account into bed. He brings old conversations into bed. He brings the face of the person who made him feel small into bed. He brings tomorrow's anxiety into bed before tomorrow has even arrived. His body lies under the blanket, but his mind is still standing beneath fluorescent lights, answering emails that no longer exist. His head touches the pillow, but the version of him that survived the day has not been placed down, and so his dreams become heavy. He dreams of being late. He dreams of locked elevators. He dreams of endless hallways. He dreams of trying to call someone, but the phone will not work. He wakes up as if he spent the entire night still working, still chasing, still defending himself against a life he no longer wants. Then, one evening, something small happens. Not dramatic, not supernatural. Small. Marcus comes home after another long day and sits on the edge of his bed. The room is quiet except for the low hum of traffic outside the window. He reaches for his phone as usual. But before unlocking it, he pauses. Something in him is tired of entering the night as the same man who barely made it through the day. He remembers a sentence he once heard. Do not bring the whole world into the room where your soul is trying to rest. So that night, Marcus tries a new ritual. He closes his eyes and imagines a wooden box at the foot of his bed. It is simple, dark brown, strong, quiet. One by one, he places the day inside it. The email he does not want to answer, into the box. The bill he is afraid to open, into the box. The conversation that made him feel powerless, into the box. The fear that he is running out of time, into the box. The image of himself as trapped, behind and unseen into the box. Then in his imagination, he closes the lid. He does not destroy the box. He does not pretend those things do not exist. He simply refuses to sleep inside them. Then he whispers, "This day is complete." He takes a breath. I release the identity that carried it. Another breath. I am available to a new reality. That night, Marcus does not see a vision. He does not wake up in another city. No miracle arrives at midnight, but he sleeps more deeply than he has in months. The next morning, he wakes and does not touch his phone immediately. For the first time in a long time, there is a small space between waking and fear. A small space. But a space is enough for a new self to enter. That morning, he makes coffee before checking email. He stands by the window. He breathes. And instead of asking, "What is going to go wrong today?" he asks, "Who would I be today if I were no longer owned by yesterday?" Nothing outside has changed yet, but something has shifted in the place from which he meets the outside. One choice changes, then another, then another. He stops answering messages from panic. He stops saying yes to things that drain him. He stops walking into meetings as if he has to apologize for existing. He starts noticing opportunities he would have dismissed before. He sends one application, then one proposal, then one honest message. Weeks later, people around him say, "Something about you feels different." They think confidence arrived suddenly, but Marcus knows the truth. It began at night. It began when he stopped dragging the old world into the place where a new one was trying to form. This is why the forbidden book calls sleep the portal between realities. Not because sleep is an escape. Not because you can avoid your life by closing your eyes. Not because the physical world disappears. But because at night, the guard at the gate becomes quiet. During the day, the mind protects what is familiar. It remembers what failed. It remembers who rejected you. It remembers the bill, the silence, the delay, the disappointment. It remembers the old evidence and says, "Be careful. Do not expect too much. Do not get excited. This is probably not for you. Stay where you know how to survive." This voice is not always evil. Often it is only afraid. It has mistaken familiar pain for safety. It believes disappointment is safer than hope. It believes the current reality, even if painful, is at least predictable. So when you try to imagine your desired reality during the day, this inner guard interrupts. You picture abundance, and it reminds you of lack. You imagine love, and it reminds you of heartbreak. You picture success, and it reminds you of every time you were overlooked. You imagine peace, and it points to all the reasons you should worry. This is why forcing a shift can feel exhausting. One part of you reaches forward, another part pulls back. One part says, "I am ready." Another part whispers, "But is it safe at night?" That guard softens. The body grows heavy, the eyes close, the room becomes still, the outside evidence fades, the analytical mind loosens its grip, and imagination becomes easier to enter than argument. Modern language may speak of memory, emotional patterns, nervous system familiarity, and subconscious programming. Ancient language spoke of gates, dreams, temples, and the soul walking between worlds. Different languages, one mystery. The night changes what the waking mind cannot force. This is why the final minutes before sleep are sacred. They are not empty minutes. They are not throwaway moments. They are the doorway through which the subconscious receives the last impression of who you believe yourself to be. Think of the subconscious as an ancient servant standing at the edge of sleep. It does not argue with you. It does not ask whether your fear is useful. It does not ask whether your assumption is helping you. It simply receives what is repeated with feeling. If you fall asleep thinking, "Nothing ever works for me," it receives the instruction. If you fall asleep feeling unwanted, it receives the atmosphere. If you fall asleep rehearsing lack, pressure, rejection, shame, or fear, it begins to treat those states as home. But if you learn to fall asleep in a different state, something begins to change. Slowly, quietly, beneath the surface. You begin to teach the deeper mind a new normal. You make peace familiar. You make receiving familiar. You make being chosen familiar. You make abundance familiar. You make calm authority familiar. You make your desired reality feel less like a fantasy and more like a place your inner self recognizes. This is the secret. Sleep does not force the desired reality to appear. Sleep makes you receptive to the version of yourself that belongs to it. And once you understand the sleep gate, the method becomes simple. Release the day, soften the body, choose the desired state. Enter the night as the self who belongs there. That is the path the forbidden book will unfold. Not through pressure, not through desperation, not through checking for proof, but through direction. Because the portal does not demand perfection. It responds to direction. This is why your bedroom matters tonight. Not because it must look perfect, not because you need expensive candles, crystals, special music, or a flawless routine. A small apartment can become a temple. A quiet bedroom in New York can become a portal. A bed in Los Angeles, Dallas, Chicago, Seattle, Atlanta, or a small town no one talks about can become the threshold of a different life. The room becomes sacred because you enter it with intention. The bed becomes a threshold because you no longer collapse into it unconsciously. Your pillow becomes the altar where the version of you that survived the day is finally placed down. Your breath becomes the prayer. Your final thought becomes the seed. And your subconscious becomes the dark soil that receives it. So tonight before sleep, do not ask the night to fix everything. Ask it to receive a different version of you. Not the version who is begging. Not the version who is checking. Not the version who is replaying every fear. Not the version who is still arguing with yesterday. Bring the version who is willing to release. The version who can say, this day is complete. The version who can set down the emotional costume of survival. The version who can step toward the desired reality, even if only through one breath, one image, one feeling. Begin with the simplest ritual. When you lie down, imagine the day as something you can hold. Maybe it is a stone, maybe it is a folder, maybe it is a box, maybe it is a heavy coat you have been wearing too long. See yourself placing it down. Not with anger, not with denial, with completion. Say quietly, this day is complete. Breathe in. I release the old day. Breathe out. I release the self that carried it. Breathe in again. I am available to a new reality. Then feel the room around you become softer. Feel the bed beneath you become a threshold. Feel the darkness not as emptiness, but as fertile space. Feel your subconscious listening. Do not give it panic. Give it direction. Do not give it desperation. Give it belonging. Do not give it the old sentence, give it the new assumption. And if the mind tries to return to the current reality, do not fight it. Simply say, not tonight, old fear. Not tonight, old story. Not tonight, old version of me. Tonight, I enter sleep differently. Tonight, I cross the gate softly. Tonight, I plant a new reality in the place where the old one used to repeat. Let the words be simple. Let the breath be slow. Let the body rest. The portal is not forced open. It opens when you stop standing guard for the old life. As you drift closer to sleep, remember the second truth of the forbidden book. The night is not empty. The night receives the self you bring to it. And if you bring a new self to the gate often enough, the gate begins to recognize you. The body grows heavy. The mind grows quiet. The old evidence fades into the distance. And somewhere beneath thought, beneath effort, beneath the surface of the waking world, the deeper mind begins to hear a new command. I am no longer sleeping inside the old reality. I am available to the one that is calling me forward. This is the sleep gate. This is the portal between realities. And once the gate is open, the forbidden book reveals the hidden laws that carry consciousness from one world into another. Chapter 3. The Hidden Laws of Sleep Shifting. Once the sleep gate opens, the forbidden book reveals something most people never understand. Shifting is not chaos. It is not luck. It is not a random miracle given only to the chosen few. It follows laws, quiet laws, invisible laws. Laws that move beneath thought, beneath emotion, beneath dreams, beneath the version of reality you keep waking into. Most people try to shift by force. They lie in bed with tense shoulders and a racing mind. They repeat affirmations while secretly asking, is this working yet? They visualize a new life while still gripping the old one with both hands. They ask the universe for proof before they have given the subconscious a new command. And then, when morning comes, they look around the same room and think nothing happened. But the forbidden book gives a different instruction. Do not try to break reality open. Learn the laws that make reality soften. Because the desired reality is not entered through panic. It is not entered through pressure. It is not entered through desperation. It is entered through alignment. Not the loud kind, not the kind you perform for the world, but the quiet alignment that happens in the final minutes before sleep. When the room is dark, the body is heavy, and the old version of you begins to loosen its grip. In the ancient chamber beneath the temple, the scholar opened the next page of the forbidden book. But this page did not contain words. It contained 5 symbols: a flame, a mirror, a bridge, a tide, and a crown. The symbols were drawn in silver ink, but they did not stay still. The flame flickered. The mirror shimmered. The bridge stretched into darkness. The tide moved across the page as if the book itself were breathing. And the crown rested at the bottom, silent and heavy, like a secret no one could wear without becoming responsible for it. The old master stood beside the scholar and whispered, "These are the laws that carry consciousness from one world into another. Do not memorize them, enter them." The scholar looked at the first symbol, the flame, and the chamber became warm. The flame rose from the page, not burning the book, but illuminating the scholar's face, and the first law appeared in his mind, the law of vibration. The flame is the feeling you carry into sleep, not the words you say with your mouth, not the wish you repeat while your body still trembles with fear, not the dream you claim to want while your deeper self still believes it is impossible. The flame is your true signal, your emotional atmosphere, the state your subconscious receives before the night takes you. This is why affirmations alone do not always change a life. A person may say, "I am abundant," while feeling panic in the chest. A person may say, "I am loved," while falling asleep inside the ache of being unwanted. A person may say, "I am already in my desired reality," while secretly checking, gripping, doubting, and fearing that nothing is happening. The subconscious does not receive only the words. It receives the feeling beneath the words. It receives the flame. If the words say peace, but the feeling says danger, the deeper mind listens to danger. If the words say love, but the feeling says rejection, the deeper mind listens to rejection. If the words say wealth, but the feeling says survival, the deeper mind listens to survival. This is not punishment, it is not failure, it is law. The flame must begin to match the world you are trying to enter. You do not shift by wanting harder. You shift by becoming familiar with the feeling of already being there. Imagine a woman named Sarah living in Los Angeles. Every night she writes in her journal about the life she wants: a peaceful apartment near the coast, a creative career that gives her freedom, a relationship where she feels chosen without chasing, a morning where she wakes without tightness in her chest, a bank account that feels calm instead of threatening. Her words are beautiful, her script is clear. But after closing the journal, Sarah reaches for her phone. She checks for a message from someone inconsistent. She checks her bank account and feels her stomach tighten. She scrolls through other people's lives until her own life begins to feel small. Then she turns off the light and whispers, "I am in my desired reality." But beneath the words, the flame is fear. The body says, "I am not safe." The heart says, "I am not chosen." The mind says, "It is not here yet." Night after night, the script says one thing. The flame says another, and the subconscious follows the flame. Then one night, Sarah stops trying to force the whole desired reality at once. She does not try to feel rich, loved, successful, peaceful, confident, and transformed in one moment. She chooses one feeling, just one: relief. She lies in bed, places one hand over her heart, and asks, "How would my body feel if I knew I was safe tonight?" Her shoulders drop, her jaw softens, her hands unclench, her breath becomes deeper. A small warmth appears in her chest, not dramatic, not perfect, but real. And she whispers, "This is the flame." For 7 nights, she practices only that. Not panic covered by words, not desperation disguised as manifestation, one real feeling: relief. And slowly, relief becomes familiar. Then safety becomes easier to imagine. Then being chosen becomes less impossible. Then abundance feels less like a fantasy and more like a room her inner self can enter. This is the first hidden law. Before sleep, do not chase the whole desired reality. Choose the flame. Choose one feeling that belongs there: peace, freedom, safety, love, abundance, confidence, certainty. Let that one feeling become more real than the fear you carried all day. The flame teaches the subconscious where to look. Then the scholar looked at the second symbol, the mirror. The flame faded back into the page and the mirror began to glow. At first, the scholar saw his face. Then the image changed. He saw not his face, but the world he had been living inside. Every fear, every expectation, every belief he had called normal, every room he had entered already expecting to be rejected, every door he had approached already assuming it would remain closed. And the second law appeared, the law of correspondence. As within, so without. But understand this carefully. The forbidden book does not teach blame. It does not say every painful event is your fault. It does not say injustice is imaginary. It does not say you should shame yourself for what you have suffered. The mirror does not punish the face that stands before it. It only reflects what is brought to it. In the same way, your inner world affects what you notice, what you expect, what you tolerate, what you choose, what you avoid, and what you keep repeating. If your inner world says, "I am not respected," you may enter rooms already prepared to be dismissed. You may speak more quietly. You may over-explain. You may accept treatment that confirms an old wound. You may overlook people who value you because your body does not yet recognize respect as normal. If your inner world says, money always leaves, every bill may feel like proof. Every expense may feel like danger. Every opportunity may feel too risky. Every dollar may become something to grip with fear. If your inner world says, love is unsafe, you may mistake anxiety for chemistry. You may mistake distance for mystery. You may mistake inconsistency for passion. You may feel bored around peace because chaos has become familiar. The mirror does not only show what you want, it shows what you have accepted as normal. That is why your desired reality must become normal inside before it can stabilize outside. There was a man named Daniel in Austin, Texas, who wanted to be seen as capable. He wanted to be trusted. He wanted to lead. He wanted to stop feeling invisible in rooms where he had something real to offer. But everywhere he went, he felt overlooked. In meetings, he softened his ideas before anyone could reject them. In conversations, he laughed before saying something serious. When he asked for what he needed, he apologized before finishing the sentence. He told himself the world did not see him. Then one evening, before sleep, he asked a different question. What if I keep entering rooms as someone who expects to disappear? That question disturbed him, because he saw the mirror. He saw how his body prepared for dismissal before anyone dismissed him. He saw how his voice lowered before anyone disagreed. He saw how he apologized before asking. He saw that he had been carrying an invisible instruction. Do not take up space. So Daniel began a simple night practice. Before sleep, he wrote one sentence. It feels normal now that I am respected. At first, the words felt strange. His mind argued. His body doubted. But he did not force himself to believe it all at once. He only practiced making the sentence familiar, night after night. It feels normal now that I am respected. Then he added, it feels normal now that my voice matters. It feels normal now that I am allowed to be seen. It feels normal now that I do not shrink to make others comfortable. Slowly, something changed. Not outside first. Inside the mirror he carried. He paused before apologizing. He spoke one idea without weakening it. He stood a little taller. He stopped asking for permission to exist. And people began responding to the version of him who had stopped disappearing before they even looked. This is the mirror law. The world does not only reflect what you want, it reflects what you have accepted as normal. So before sleep, give the mirror a new normal. Complete this sentence. It feels normal now that I am respected. It feels normal now that love feels safe. It feels normal now that money moves through my life with calm order. It feels normal now that I wake up guided. It feels normal now that my desired reality recognizes me. Say it softly, say it slowly, not like a performance, like a room you are learning to live in. Then the scholar looked at the third symbol, the bridge. The mirror dissolved into silver mist, and across the page stretched a bridge made of pale light. One end stood in shadow, the other disappeared into a golden distance. And the third law appeared, the law of polarity. Current reality and desired reality are not enemies. They are two ends of one bridge. Most people make one mistake here. They hate the reality they want to leave. They hate the job, the bank account, the loneliness, the delay, the body, the city, the past, the version of themselves that survived what they had to survive. And because they hate it, they remain emotionally tied to it. Hatred is still attachment. Resentment is still attention. Fighting the old world keeps your energy facing backward. You cannot leave what you are still fighting. The bridge opens when you stop making war with where you are. This does not mean you approve of everything. It does not mean the old reality was comfortable. It does not mean you stay. It means you stop feeding the self that only knows how to exist in battle. Imagine standing at the beginning of the bridge. Behind you is the old life, the old fear, the old conversations, the old survival patterns, the old version of your name. Across the bridge is the desired reality, not screaming for your attention, not begging you to prove yourself, simply waiting. Like a place that already exists in the field of possibility. You cannot cross while staring backward in anger. You cross by blessing what taught you and refusing to remain inside its limits. Maya, a woman living in Phoenix, learned this in the middle of a difficult season. Every night she tried to imagine a better future. But before sleep, she replayed everything she hated. The people who disappointed her, the years she felt she wasted, the opportunities she believed she missed, the self she judged for not knowing better sooner. She wanted to move forward, but her emotional body kept facing backward. Then one night, instead of visualizing a perfect future, she imagined a bridge. On one side stood the life she was tired of carrying. On the other side stood a life she could not fully see but could feel. She began to walk. Halfway across, she turned back. At first, she wanted to curse the old life, but something in her softened, and she whispered, "Thank you for teaching me. I no longer need to live inside your limits." That sentence became her key, not because the past became beautiful, but because she stopped making the past the center of her identity. She crossed a little farther each night, and with every crossing, she felt less like someone escaping, and more like someone returning to the self that had been waiting beyond survival. This is the bridge law. You do not shift by attacking the current reality. You shift by no longer belonging to it. Before sleep, whisper, "I bless the old reality. I no longer belong to its limits." Say it gently. Say it without drama. Say it as someone closing a door with peace instead of slamming it with pain. Then the scholar looked at the fourth symbol, the tide. The bridge faded, and the page became water. A dark tide moved across it, rising and falling beneath the silver moon. And the fourth law appeared, the law of rhythm. Every old pattern has a rhythm. Every self has a rhythm. Every reality has a rhythm. This is why you may feel aligned one night and doubtful the next morning. This is why you may feel powerful during meditation, then small after one message, one bill, one memory, one silence. This is why the old feeling sometimes returns just when you thought you were free. It does not mean you failed. It means the old tide is still moving. The old wave may still touch your feet, but you are no longer building your home on that shore. Most people give up because they misunderstand rhythm. They believe that once they choose the desired reality, the old feeling should disappear forever. The old self does not always vanish at once. Sometimes it echoes, sometimes it knocks, sometimes it returns in a dream, sometimes it appears as doubt before sleep. Sometimes it whispers, "Are you sure this is working?" The forbidden book says, do not fear the echo. An echo is not a command. A wave is not a home. A passing feeling is not a final reality. When the old rhythm returns, you do not need to panic. You choose again. Before sleep, when fear rises, say, "This is only an echo. I choose again." When doubt returns, say, "This is only an echo. I choose again." When the old self asks for the old story, say, "This is only an echo. I choose again." This sentence teaches the subconscious that returning thoughts are not rulers. They are weather, and you are not the weather. You are the one choosing which climate becomes home. Then the scholar looked at the final symbol, the crown. The tide became still, the page darkened, and the crown began to glow. It was not made of gold. It was made of assumption. Every jewel was a belief. Every curve was an expectation. Every hidden weight was a sentence the wearer had accepted as true. And the fifth law appeared, the law of assumption. The assumption you sleep in becomes the atmosphere your subconscious accepts as normal. An assumption is not always loud. It is not always spoken clearly. Often, it is the quiet expectation beneath everything. The feeling that life will probably repeat. The feeling that love will probably disappoint. The feeling that money will probably be difficult. The feeling that opportunity will probably pass you by. The feeling that change is possible for others, but not quite for you. These are assumptions, invisible crowns, and every night you fall asleep wearing one. Some people wear the crown of being late. Some wear the crown of being unwanted. Some wear the crown of being unlucky. Some wear the crown of almost. Almost chosen, almost ready, almost successful, almost there. But the forbidden book says, your assumption is the crown you wear in the unseen world, and life begins to address you according to the crown you keep accepting. So tonight, ask yourself, what crown have I been wearing into sleep? The crown of lack? The crown of rejection? The crown of delay? The crown of fear? The crown of not yet? And what crown belongs to the version of me in my desired reality? The crown of safety? The crown of receiving? The crown of being chosen? The crown of calm wealth? The crown of love that does not require begging? The crown of success that does not require apology? The crown of knowing? You are always assuming something. Either you assume the old life continues, or you assume the new life is becoming natural. Either you assume you are still outside the door, or you assume you are learning to belong beyond it. Before sleep, the forbidden book gives this final phrase. I fall asleep in the assumption that my desired reality is becoming natural to me now. Do not rush it. Do not perform it. Let it settle. I fall asleep in the assumption that my desired reality is becoming natural to me now. Again, I fall asleep in the assumption that my desired reality is becoming natural to me now. Now the scholar understood why the book had been hidden, not because the laws were complicated, but because they made excuses impossible. Once you know the flame, You cannot pretend your feeling does not matter. Once you know the mirror, you cannot pretend your inner normal has no effect. Once you know the bridge, you cannot keep fighting the old world and call it freedom. Once you know the tide, you cannot mistake every returning fear for failure. Once you know the crown, you cannot keep sleeping in the old assumption and wonder why the same reality greets you in the morning. This knowledge is not given to make you afraid. It is given to make you conscious. Because what has been unconscious has been repeating, and what becomes conscious can be chosen. So remember the 5 symbols: the flame, the mirror, the bridge, the tide, the crown. The flame asks, what feeling am I giving to the night? The mirror asks, what have I accepted as normal? The bridge asks, what old reality am I ready to bless and leave? The tide asks, what echo am I no longer obeying? The crown asks, what assumption will I wear into sleep? You do not need to master all 5 tonight. You only need to enter one sincerely, one real feeling, one new normal, one peaceful goodbye, one moment of choosing again, one assumption that says my desired reality is becoming natural to me now. That is enough to begin, because the desired reality is not waiting for a louder wish. It is waiting for a matching state. It is waiting for the version of you who does not only want it but belongs to it. So tonight, do not force, do not panic, do not measure. Do not ask the universe every minute whether anything is happening. Choose the flame, face the mirror, cross the bridge, let the tide pass, wear the crown, and fall asleep as the one your desired reality already recognizes. The hidden laws have now been revealed. But the forbidden book does not leave you with theory. It now gives the method, the exact sleep-shifting ritual. The way to prepare the body, release the current reality, choose the desired state, cross the bridge, enter the morning of the new world, and fall asleep in the reality you choose. The next page is not only to be understood, it is to be practiced. Chapter 4. The exact sleep-shifting method the forbidden book has now shown you. The first 3 truths. Reality is not as fixed as you were taught. Sleep is the portal between who you have been and who you are becoming. And hidden beneath that portal are 5 laws: the flame, the mirror, the bridge, the tide, and the crown. But knowledge alone is not enough. A door can be explained forever and still remain unopened. A map can be studied for years and still never be walked. A key can rest in your hand and still never turn. So now the forbidden book stops teaching in symbols. It begins to give the method. Not a method of force, not a method of panic. Not a method where you check every minute to see if something is happening. This is not about trying to escape your life with fear in your chest. This is about entering sleep as the version of you your desired reality already recognizes. Tonight, the method is simple. Prepare the chamber. Release the current reality from the body. Choose the desired reality. Cross the bridge. Enter the morning of the new world. Speak the assumption. And let 7 movements, 1 doorway. Do not rush them. Do not perform them. Do not try to make them perfect. The portal does not open for perfection. It opens for sincerity. The first movement is this: prepare the chamber. Before you lie down tonight, look at your room differently. Do not treat it like an ordinary room. Do not treat your bed like the place where you collapse under the weight of another day. For the next few minutes, this room becomes the outer symbol of your inner world. It does not need to be beautiful. It does not need to look expensive. It does not need to look like a temple, a spa, a retreat, or a scene from someone else's life. A simple bedroom can become sacred when you enter it with intention. A small apartment can become a doorway. A quiet corner of a house can become a chamber between realities. A bed in New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, Dallas, Atlanta, Seattle, Denver, Miami, or a small American town no one talks about can become the threshold where the old self is placed down. So begin by removing one thing that pulls you back into the old reality. Only one. Move the phone farther away from the bed. Close the laptop. Turn the screen face down. Dim the light. Clear the cup, the paper, the object, the reminder, the small piece of visual noise that tells your mind the day is still unfinished. You do not need to clean the whole room. You are not preparing for a guest. You are preparing for a crossing. Then let the room become quiet. If there is sound outside, let it be part of the distance. Traffic, wind, a neighbor moving upstairs, a car passing in the street, a refrigerator humming, a city breathing beyond your window. You do not need silence to shift, you need inner direction. Now sit or lie down slowly. Do not collapse. Arrive. Let the body know something different is happening. Place your hand on the bed, the blanket, or your heart and whisper, "This room is now a chamber between realities." Say it slowly. This room is now a chamber between realities. Then breathe in and breathe out. Let the old world begin to lose its authority. The forbidden book says the chamber does not open when you decorate it. It opens when you decide what this night is for. So now say, tonight I do not sleep as the old version of me. Pause. Tonight I enter the night with intention. Pause again. Tonight, I become available to my desired reality. Do not worry if you do not feel anything dramatic. This method does not begin with fireworks. It begins with permission. The second movement is this: release the current reality from the body. Most people try to visualize their desired reality while their body is still carrying the current one. Their shoulders are tight, their jaw is locked, their stomach is tense, their hands are gripping, their breathing is shallow. Their body is still in the old argument, the old fear, the old money pressure, the old rejection, the old responsibility, the old identity that has been bracing for impact all day. Then they wonder why the visualization feels far away. But the forbidden book teaches, the body must be softened before the bridge can be crossed, because your body is the place where the old reality often hides. It hides in the forehead, in the jaw, in the throat, in the chest, in the stomach, in the hands, in the hips, in the legs, in the breath. So tonight, do not fight the current reality with your mind. Release it from the body. Close your eyes. Bring your attention to your forehead. Let the skin soften. Let the space behind the eyes become dark and wide. Whisper, I release the old reality from my mind. Now bring your attention to your jaw. Let the teeth separate slightly. Let the tongue rest. Let the mouth become soft. Whisper, I release the words I did not need to carry. Now move to the throat, the place of unspoken truth, the place of swallowed anger, the place of things you wanted to say but could not. Let it soften. Whisper, I release the version of me that was afraid to speak. Now move to the shoulders, the place where many people carry lives that are too heavy. Let them drop, not all at once, just a little. Whisper, I release the weight of the old day. Now move to the chest. Notice what lives there: fear, longing, pressure, hope, grief, expectation. Do not judge it. Do not analyze it. Simply breathe into it. Whisper, my heart is safe to leave the old reality. Now move to the stomach, the place that tightens when life feels uncertain, the place that grips when money feels unsafe, the place that knows when you are pretending to be calm while secretly afraid. Let the belly soften. Whisper, I release survival from my body. Now move to the hands. Open them slightly, even if they are under the blanket. Let the fingers loosen. Whisper, I do not grip the old story anymore. Now move to the legs, the knees, the calves, the feet, the parts of you that have carried you through every day you thought you could not survive. Let them become heavy. Let them sink into the bed. Whisper, I no longer have to run from the old reality. I am allowed to leave it in peace. Now take one slow breath in and one slow breath out. Again and out. And now say, my body is safe to release the old reality. Pause. My body is safe to release the old reality. Pause again. My body is safe to release the old reality. This is important, because the desired reality cannot feel natural if your body still believes the old reality is the only safe place. Even pain can become familiar. Even stress can become familiar. Even loneliness can become familiar. Even lack can become familiar. The body may not love those states, but it may know them. And sometimes the body clings to what it knows, even when the soul is ready for more. So speak to the body gently. Do not command it like an enemy. Guide it like a loyal guardian that has been working too hard. Say, thank you for carrying me through the old reality. Pause. You do not have to carry it into sleep. Pause again. You are safe to rest while I become new. Let those words settle. The third movement is this: choose your desired reality. Not as a fantasy, not as a desperate escape, not as a scene you chase because you hate where you are. Choose it as a state you are willing to become familiar with. Many people make the desired reality too vague. They say, I want a better life. But the subconscious does not enter vague doorways easily. They say, I want everything to change. But the deeper mind needs an image, a feeling, a place to step into. So ask yourself gently, where am I waking up in the reality I desire? What does the room look like? What is the first light of morning touching? What does the air feel like? What is different in my body? What is the first thought I think? Who am I no longer afraid of being? Maybe you wake in a quiet apartment in New York, and the city outside no longer feels threatening, but alive. Maybe you wake in a house near the California ocean, with soft light coming through white curtains and the sound of waves somewhere in the distance. Maybe you wake in a peaceful bedroom in Texas, with your phone on the table and no fear rushing through your chest when you reach for it. Maybe you wake beside someone who loves you with consistency, warmth, and safety. Maybe you wake knowing your bills are paid, your money is organized, and your nervous system no longer treats your bank account like a predator. Maybe you wake in a body that feels respected, cared for, and at home. Maybe you wake knowing your name is on the door of an office, a studio, a business, a creative project, a life that finally feels like yours. Maybe you wake without panic. Maybe that alone is the miracle. Do not choose the desired reality only by what it looks like. Choose it by how it feels, because the image opens the door, but the feeling lets you enter. So now choose one morning, only one. Do not try to imagine your entire future. Do not build a whole world with every detail perfect. Choose one morning inside your desired reality. The first morning after the shift, see the room, feel the bed. Feel your body waking up there. Hear the quiet, notice the light, notice the calm, notice the absence of the old fear. Now ask, what is the main feeling of this reality? Is it peace, freedom, safety, being chosen, power, ease, abundance, belonging, relief, certainty? Choose one feeling, only one. This feeling is your flame. Hold it gently. Do not squeeze it. Do not try to make it huge. A small, real feeling is more powerful than a dramatic fake one. If all you can feel is 1% relief, begin there. 1% is an opening. 1% is a crack in the wall. 1% is enough for the subconscious to receive a new direction. Whisper, this is the feeling of my desired reality. Pause. This is the feeling I choose to make familiar. Pause again. This is the feeling I carry through the gate. Now the fourth movement begins. The bridge technique. This is the heart of the method. In your mind, imagine that you are standing in a quiet place at night. It may be a field, a beach, a desert road, a forest path, a rooftop above a sleeping city, or simply a dark open space behind your closed eyes. In front of you, a bridge appears, not suddenly, slowly, like it has been waiting for you to notice it. The bridge is made of silver light, soft, steady, silent. It stretches from where you are now toward the reality you desire. Behind you is the current reality. Do not turn it into an enemy. Do not curse it. Do not fight it. Simply know it is behind you, the old room, the old fear, the old story, the old expectations, the old version of yourself who tried so hard to survive. In front of you is the desired reality. You may not see every detail. You do not need to. You only need to feel that it exists as a possibility your inner self can move toward. Now stand at the beginning of the bridge. Feel your feet there. Feel the air around you. Feel the night holding you. And say, I am not here to escape in fear. Pause. I am here to cross in peace. Now take the first step onto the bridge. With this step, say, I leave behind the identity that only knew how to survive. Take another step. I leave behind the fear that change is not safe. Another step. I leave behind the story that I am always behind. Another step. I leave behind the need to prove my worth through struggle. Another step. I leave behind the old sentence that says life is against me. Walk slowly, do not rush. Each step is a release. Each step is a withdrawal of energy from the old reality. Now pause in the middle of the bridge. Behind you is the life you have known. Before you is the life you are learning to belong to. Here, in the middle, do something powerful. Bless the old reality. Not because it was easy, not because everything was fair, not because you want to repeat it, but because you are done needing war in order to leave. Turn gently toward the old reality and say, thank you for what you taught me. Pause. Thank you for the strength I found there. Pause again. I no longer need to live inside your limits. Now turn back toward the desired reality. The bridge becomes brighter, the air becomes softer. The new world does not pull you. It recognizes you. Now continue walking. With the next step, say, I walk toward the identity that receives. Another step. I walk toward the life that knows my name. Another step. I walk toward the reality that feels natural to my soul. Another step. I walk toward love that does not require begging. Another step. I walk toward money that moves with calm order. Another step. I walk toward success that does not demand self-betrayal. Another step. I walk toward a morning where peace is normal. Another step. I walk toward the version of me who already belongs there. Now you reach the end of the bridge. There is a doorway. It may be made of wood, gold, light, glass, stone, or nothing at all. It may be the door Eleanor saw in her dream. It may be a door you have seen before in your own mind. It may simply be a feeling. Stand before it. Do not push. Do not beg. Do not demand. Place one hand over your heart and ask, who am I when I live beyond this door? Let the answer come as a feeling, not a paragraph, not a perfect vision, a feeling. Maybe the answer is, I am calm, I am safe, I am chosen, I am free, I am powerful, I am loved, I am guided, I am abundant, I am finally myself. Now say, I am ready to become the one who belongs beyond this door. The door opens, slowly, silently, without force, and now you step through. The fifth movement begins. Enter the morning of your desired reality. You are no longer on the bridge. You are waking up there, not someday, not far away, not as a wish. Now, see the first light of morning. It may be golden, soft blue, silver, warm. See it touching the room. See the walls, the window, the blanket, the floor. The small details that make this reality feel lived in. This is not a movie scene. This is your morning. Feel your body in the bed. Notice how it feels to wake without the old heaviness. Notice your breath. It is slower. It is deeper. It does not rush to defend you. Notice your chest. There is space there. Notice your stomach. It is not gripping in the same way. Notice your hands. They are open. Notice the first thought of the day. It is not, how will I survive? It is not, what is wrong? It is not, did it work? The first thought is simple. I am here. Feel that? I am here. Now imagine sitting up in this reality. Your feet touch the floor. The floor feels steady beneath you. You walk to the window. You look outside. Maybe you see the city, maybe the ocean, maybe trees, maybe a quiet street, maybe morning light on buildings, maybe rain, maybe sunlight. Whatever you see, the world feels different because you are meeting it from a different self. Now imagine checking your phone in this reality, not with panic, not with hunger, not looking for proof, just calmly. The messages feel different. Your relationship to the world feels different. You are no longer begging the day to tell you who you are. You already know. Now imagine looking at your bank account, your calendar, your work, your body, your relationships, your next step. Do not force exact details. Feel the relationship. Money feels calmer. Love feels safer. Time feels more spacious. Your body feels like home. Your work feels aligned. Your path feels guided. Your name feels respected. This is important. The subconscious does not need every detail. It needs the atmosphere. It needs the normal. It needs to know what this life feels like when you are no longer outside the door. So now breathe as that version of you. Not the version wanting, the version living. Breathe as the one who belongs. Breathe as the one who no longer has to chase. Breathe as the one whose desired reality is becoming ordinary in the most beautiful way. Now say quietly, this is my morning. Pause. This is my state. Pause again. This is the reality I am learning to sleep inside. The sixth movement is this. Speak the assumption. Do not speak it loudly. Do not speak it with pressure. Speak it as if you are placing a crown on the head of the version of you who is already lying in that bed. Repeat after me, slowly. I am safe to shift. Pause. My subconscious knows the way. Pause. The old reality no longer defines me. Pause. My desired reality is becoming familiar. Pause. I wake up as the version of me who already belongs there. Pause. I do not chase the new reality. Pause. I become available to it. Pause. Tonight, my inner world changes first. Pause. I fall asleep in the reality I choose. Now breathe. Let the words echo. Do not check whether you believe them perfectly. Perfect belief is not required. Familiarity is built by return. Each time you speak the assumption with even a little feeling, you place the crown down again, and again, until the deeper mind stops treating it as strange. Now repeat the shorter version. I am safe to shift. My subconscious knows the way. My desired reality is becoming familiar. I fall asleep in reality I choose. Again, I am safe to shift. My subconscious knows the way. My desired reality is becoming familiar. I fall asleep in the reality I choose. Now let the words become quieter. Let them move from the mouth to the mind, from the mind to the body, from the body to the dark. The seventh movement is this. Let go. This is where many people lose the method. They prepare the room. They release the body. They choose the desired reality. They cross the bridge. They enter the morning. They speak the assumption. And then they open their inner eyes and ask, did it work? Am I there yet? Did I feel something? Was that a sign? Did I do it right? Did I shift? And in that moment, they leave the state and return to checking. Checking is not trust. Checking is the old reality asking to be worshipped one more time. The forbidden book gives a final warning. Do not dig up the seed to see if it is growing. Once you plant the feeling, let the night carry it. Your work is not to control the invisible. Your work is to enter sleep as the one who belongs. So now stop measuring. Stop searching for symptoms. Stop demanding proof from the dark. Do not ask the body to shake. Do not ask the ears to ring. Do not ask the room to spin. Do not ask for strange signs to convince you. You do not need a dramatic experience to receive a deep shift. Sometimes the shift begins as peace. Sometimes it begins as a dream. Sometimes it begins as a new thought in the morning. Sometimes it begins as a different reaction to an old situation. Sometimes it begins as the strange absence of a fear that used to control you. Sometimes it begins quietly enough that you almost miss it. Let it be quiet. Let it be natural. Let it unfold without turning it into a test. If thoughts return, do not fight them. If the old day comes back, place it gently into the box. If doubt returns, say, "This is only an echo. I choose again." If the mind asks for proof, say, "Not tonight." If fear asks whether change is safe, say, "My body is safe to release the old reality." And then return to the feeling. One feeling, the flame, relief, safety, belonging, freedom, being chosen, calm, abundance, whatever you chose, return there. Not by force, by softness. Now imagine yourself once more in the bed of your desired reality. Morning light, calm breath, open hands, a body that feels safe, a life that recognizes you. And let this become the last inner picture of the night. Do not hold it tightly. Let it hold you. Do not chase it. Rest inside it. Do not perform the method anymore. Become the result of it. There is nothing more to fix in this moment. Nothing more to prove. Nothing more to solve before sleep. The old reality had its voice today. Now the desired reality receives the night. Let the body become heavy. Let the breath become slow. Let the room become distant. Let the bridge fade behind you. You have crossed enough for tonight. You have planted enough for tonight. You have spoken enough for tonight. Now sleep as the one who belongs. The forbidden book says, the method is not complete when you finish the steps. The method is complete when you stop trying to be the old self doing a new technique and become the new self for whom this reality is natural. So tonight, prepare the chamber. Release the old world from the body. Choose the morning. Cross the bridge. Enter the feeling. Speak the assumption and let go. That is the exact sleep-shifting method. Simple enough for the mind to remember, deep enough for the subconscious to receive, and powerful enough, when repeated sincerely, to change the self that meets tomorrow. As you fall asleep, repeat only this: I am safe to shift. My subconscious knows the way. My desired reality is becoming familiar. I fall asleep in the reality I choose. Again, softly, I am safe to shift. My subconscious knows the way. My desired reality is becoming familiar. I fall asleep in the reality I choose. And now, let the words become breath. Let the breath become feeling. Let the feeling become the doorway. The old world does not need to be fought tonight. The new world does not need to be forced. The bridge has been shown. The gate has been opened. The method has been given. And now, the only thing left is to enter the night as the one your desired reality already knows. Sleep as that one. Breathe as that one. Rest as that one. And allow the deeper mind to carry you across. Chapter 5. The night between realities after the method has been given. The forbidden book opens to a quieter page. This page does not teach another technique. It teaches what happens after the technique, because many people can begin the crossing. But not everyone understands the night between realities. This is the space where the old self has been placed down, but the new self does not yet feel completely natural. This is the space where the desired reality has been chosen, but the current reality may still be visible when morning comes. This is the space where something inside you begins to change before the outside world has finished rearranging. And this is where most people turn back, not because the method failed, but because they misunderstand the silence. They think if nothing dramatic happens, nothing happened. They think if doubt returns, they have lost the state. They think if the old reality appears in the morning, the new one was not received. They think if they do not feel floating, spinning, shaking, glowing, or hearing some mysterious sound, then the shift was not real. But the forbidden book gives a warning. Do not confuse absence of spectacle with absence of movement. The deepest changes often begin quietly, like roots moving beneath dark soil, like ice melting from the inside, like a door unlocking before it opens. The night between realities is not always dramatic. Sometimes it is calm. Sometimes it is emotional. Sometimes it is peaceful. Sometimes it is uncomfortable. Sometimes it feels like nothing at all. And still, something may be changing. After you practice the sleep-shifting method, you may feel a wave of peace moving through the body. You may feel heavier than usual, as if the bed is holding you more deeply. You may feel lighter, as if the old day has drifted farther away. You may have vivid dreams. You may remember symbols, places, faces, doors, bridges, water, lights, or rooms you have never seen before. You may wake with a strange sense that something inside you has moved, or you may simply sleep, deeply, quietly, without any sign. And that, too, is allowed. The forbidden book says, do not chase symptoms. Symptoms are not the doorway. The state is the doorway. Many seekers become trapped because they start worshiping signs instead of becoming the version of themselves who belongs. They ask, did my body vibrate? Did I hear something? Did I feel pulled? Did I wake up somewhere else? Did the room change? Did I see proof? But checking pulls the mind back into the old position. The one who checks is still asking permission. The one who checks is still standing outside the door, asking the door to convince them they belong. The one who belongs does not spend the night interrogating the universe. The one who belongs rests. So if nothing strange happens, do not call it failure. If something strange happens, do not cling to it. If dreams come, receive them. If dreams do not come, rest. If emotions rise, let them pass. If silence comes, trust the silence. The shift is not proven by a sensation. It is revealed by the self you become. There is one obstacle that appears often in the night between realities: doubt. Doubt may arrive quietly, after the method, after the affirmations, after the bridge, after you have entered the morning of your desired reality in imagination. A small voice may whisper, "What if this is not working? What if I am making it up? What if nothing changes? What if I wake up tomorrow and everything is the same?" Do not be afraid of this voice. Doubt is not always an enemy. Sometimes doubt is simply the old identity asking whether it is still needed. It has protected you for a long time. It has used caution as armor. It has used disappointment as preparation. It has used skepticism as a way to avoid being hurt again. So when you begin to cross into a new state, doubt may rise because the old self feels its authority weakening. It says, "Are we really leaving?" It says, "Can we really be safe without the old fear?" It says, "What if hope hurts us again?" Do not fight it. Do not answer it with panic. Do not turn the night into a courtroom where you must prove your desired reality is real. Simply place one hand on your heart and say, "Even this doubt is being transformed into certainty." Pause. Even this doubt is part of the crossing. Pause again. I do not need perfect belief tonight. I only need to return. This is how you work with doubt. You do not wrestle it, you translate it. Doubt says, "I am scared." You answer, "You are safe." Doubt says, "What if nothing changes?" You answer, "I am changing now." Doubt says, "What if this is not real?" You answer, "The state I sleep in is real to my subconscious." And then you return to the flame, one feeling: relief, safety, belonging, calm, freedom. You do not need to solve every thought. You only need to stop giving every thought the throne. Another obstacle appears as fear. Fear often comes when the desired reality begins to feel too close. At first, you may think you are afraid of failing, but sometimes you are afraid of receiving, afraid of being chosen, afraid of having more money, afraid of being seen, afraid of being loved consistently, afraid of waking up without chaos, afraid that if life becomes better, you will not know who you are without the struggle. This is why some people approach their desired reality and then pull back, not because they do not want it, but because the body does not yet recognize it as safe. Peace can feel strange to a body trained in survival. Love can feel unfamiliar to a heart trained in uncertainty. Abundance can feel suspicious to a nervous system trained to expect loss. Success can feel dangerous to a self that learned to stay small. So if fear rises, do not shame yourself. The forbidden book does not say, "You failed because you felt fear." It says, "Now the old guardian has revealed itself." Fear is a guardian standing at the old gate. It is not there to destroy you. It is there because it believes change is danger, so speak to it gently. Say, "I am safe to become new." Pause. "I am safe to receive more." Pause. "I am safe to live without the old struggle." Pause again. "I can let this become natural slowly." Let the word slowly matter. You do not have to force the whole desired reality into the body in one night. You are teaching the body a new home. You are making peace familiar. You are making receiving familiar. You are making love familiar. You are making calm abundance familiar. And familiarity is built through return, night after night, breath after breath, state after state. Another obstacle is impatience. This one wears the mask of motivation. It says, "Why has it not happened yet? How many nights will this take? What am I doing wrong? Why do other people get results faster? Why am I still seeing the old reality?" Impatience seems powerful, but underneath it is often fear. Fear that you are late. Fear that you are forgotten. Fear that the universe passed over you. Fear that the desired reality is moving away instead of closer. But the forbidden book says, every night is not a test. Every night is a planting. A seed does not become a tree because someone checks the soil every hour. A bridge does not become stronger because someone keeps running back to see if the first side still exists. A new self does not become natural by being measured every morning with anxiety. So when impatience rises, say, "Every night, this becomes more natural." Pause. "Every night I am teaching my subconscious where I belong." Pause again. Every night is a planting. Do not count the nights as proof of delay. Count them as evidence of devotion. Each night you return, you make the new state less foreign. Each night you release the old day, you weaken the old pattern. Each night you enter the morning of your desired reality, you teach the deeper mind that this world is not strange, this is not wasted time. This is inner construction. A house is not built only on the day the walls become visible. It begins beneath the ground, in the foundation, in the hidden structure, in the part no one sees. Your desired reality may be building in the same way, beneath thought, beneath habit, beneath your reactions, beneath the old story, until one day, you respond differently before you even plan to. You say no without guilt. You receive without panic. You speak without shrinking. You stop chasing what confuses you. You notice an opportunity and do not immediately disqualify yourself. You wake up and the old fear is quieter. That is not nothing. That is the new reality beginning to breathe through you. There was a man named Ethan living in Seattle who learned this slowly. He had listened to many teachings about reality shifting, manifestation, and the subconscious mind. He understood the ideas. He knew the words. He could explain the concepts. But every morning, he still woke with the same question. Did it work? Before he even sat up, he checked. He checked his phone. He checked his mood. He checked his bank account. He checked for messages. He checked for signs. He checked the outside world to decide whether the inside work had been real. And because the outside world did not always change immediately, he kept feeling defeated. One night, after practicing the bridge technique, Ethan felt nothing special. No vision, no floating, no dramatic dream, just quiet. He almost called it failure. But before sleep took him fully, a sentence rose inside him. Stop asking the old reality to grade your crossing. The words stayed with him. The next morning, he woke in the same apartment. Same window, same gray Seattle light. Same phone on the nightstand. Same life, at least on the surface. His old habit wanted to check. Did it work? Did anything change? Is there proof? But this time, Ethan paused. He placed one hand on his chest and asked a different question. Who am I choosing to be now? That question changed the morning. Not everything, but enough. He did not reach for his phone immediately. He made tea. He stood by the window and watched rain touch the glass. He breathed before entering the day. At work, an old situation appeared. A coworker spoke to him with the same dismissive tone that usually made him shrink. Normally, Ethan would become quiet. He would smile weakly. He would replay the moment for hours. But that day, something in him did not collapse. He answered calmly, clearly, without apology. The room did not shake. No one saw a mystical light around him, but Ethan felt it. The old self had been called, and he did not answer from the old place. That night, he practiced again. Same bridge, same morning of the desired reality. Same 4 assumptions. I am safe to shift. My subconscious knows the way. My desired reality is becoming familiar. I fall asleep in the reality I choose. The next day, another small change, then another. He stopped texting someone who only gave him confusion. He applied for a position he had been afraid to want. He organized his money without spiraling into shame. He began walking through the city with a quieter sense of authority. Weeks later, someone said, "You seem different." Ethan did not explain. He knew. The shift had not begun with a spectacle. It had begun with a new response. This is how the night between realities often works. The old world may still appear, but the old world no longer gets the same version of you. That is the real sign. Not whether everything changes overnight, but whether you are no longer entirely available to the old pattern. The old fear speaks, but you do not obey as quickly. The old temptation appears, but you do not follow as blindly. The old wound is touched, but you do not build your identity from it again. The old reality calls your name, and for the first time you hesitate before answering. This is the moment of power, the space between old command and new choice. This is where realities begin to separate. So if you wake tomorrow and the room looks the same, do not despair. Ask, am I meeting it from the same self? If the answer is no, even slightly, the crossing has begun. If you feel 1% calmer, honor it. If you react 1% differently, honor it. If you carry 1% less shame, honor it. If you choose 1% more self-respect, honor it. The Forbidden Book says, a reality does not always announce itself at the door. Sometimes it enters through the way you breathe. Sometimes it enters through what you no longer tolerate. Sometimes it enters through the silence where panic used to live. Sometimes it enters through one decision that seems small but belongs to a completely different future. There is another warning on this page. Do not talk yourself out of the subtle signs. The old self often expects transformation to look like a movie. But the new self often arrives like a whisper, a calmer morning, a different impulse, a sudden refusal to chase, a softer body, a clearer yes, a stronger no, a feeling that you are not as trapped as yesterday. These are not small things. They are the first language of a new reality. So tonight, after the method, when you enter the night between realities, remember, doubt may come, fear may come, impatience may come, old thoughts may echo, the current reality may still appear in the morning. None of this means you failed. It means you are crossing while the old world is still visible. And that is how many crossings happen, not after the old world disappears, but while you are still standing inside it, choosing not to belong to it in the same way. Now take this final practice from the forbidden book. If doubt rises, say, even this doubt is being transformed into certainty. If fear rises, say, I am safe to become new. If impatience rises, say, every night is a planting. If the old reality appears in the morning, say, this is only the old reality losing its voice. And if nothing seems to happen, say, silence is not failure. The deeper mind is still listening. Let these words become your protection in the night between realities. Not protection from life, protection from returning too quickly to the old interpretation. Because the old interpretation is what kept the old reality alive. The event may look the same. The room may look the same. The message may look the same. The bank account may look the same. The mirror may look the same. But if the meaning changes, the self changes. And if the self changes, the path changes. Tonight, you do not need to force evidence. You do not need to chase signs. You do not need to make the night perform for you. You only need to return to the state, return to the flame, return to the bridge, return to the crown, return to the one who belongs. And when morning comes, do not ask first, did it work? Ask, who am I choosing to be now? That question keeps the portal open. That question carries the night into the day. That question teaches your desired reality that you are no longer only visiting it before sleep. You are beginning to live from it while awake. The night between realities is sacred. Do not rush it. Do not fear it. Do not measure it with the eyes of the old self. Let the old world echo. Let the old thoughts knock. Let the old identity search for you. You do not have to answer in the same voice. You do not have to return to the same room. You do not have to sleep inside the same story. The forbidden book now prepares you for the final page. Because shifting is not only about entering the desired reality at night. It is about waking as the one who crossed. And in the next chapter, you will learn how to carry the new state into morning, into choices, into action, into the physical world, until the desired reality is no longer only something you visit in sleep. It becomes the life that recognizes you in daylight. Conclusion: wake as the one who crossed. The forbidden book now closes its final page. But the truth it revealed does not end here. It follows you into the night, into the breath, into the final thought before sleep, into the quiet moment when the old world fades and the deeper mind begins to listen. You have now learned what most people never pause long enough to understand. Reality is not as fixed as you were taught. Sleep is not only rest. The final minutes before sleep are not empty. They are a doorway, a place where the old self can be placed down and the new self can begin to feel natural. You have learned the hidden laws, the flame, which is the feeling you carry into the night, the mirror, which reflects what you have accepted as normal, the bridge which carries you from the current reality to the desired one, the tide, which teaches you not to fear the return of old emotions, and the crown, which is the assumption you wear into sleep. You have been given the method. Prepare the chamber. Release the old reality from the body. Choose one morning in your desired reality. Cross the bridge, enter the feeling, speak the assumption, and let go. But remember this, the method is not power because it is complicated. It is power because it returns you to the place where reality first begins to change, within. The forbidden book did not give you power. It reminded you where your power was hidden, not in forcing the outside world, not in begging for signs, not in checking every morning with fear, but in the self you become before the world responds. So tonight, when you lie down, do not fall asleep as the old story. Do not fall asleep as the one who is still asking permission. Do not fall asleep as the one who believes the desired reality is far away. Fall asleep as the version of you who is learning to belong there now. And when morning comes, do not immediately ask, did it work? Ask something stronger. Who am I choosing to be now? That question keeps the portal open. Look for the subtle signs, a calmer breath, a softer thought, a different reaction, a boundary you finally keep, an opportunity you no longer reject, a fear that does not control you as quickly, a silence where panic used to live. These are not small things. They are the first movements of a new reality entering your life through you. Return to this transmission for 7 nights, not to force, not to chase, not to prove, but to make the desired reality familiar to your subconscious. Night after night, let the old self loosen. Night after night, let the new assumption become natural. Night after night, let your inner world become the place your outer world begins to recognize. Before you leave, write these words in the comments or whisper them quietly to yourself. I am ready. And if this forbidden transmission found you at the right time, subscribe to Subconscious Audiobooks for more deep audiobooks on the subconscious, mind, reality shifting, manifestation, and the hidden power within you. Now let the words become quiet. Let the method become breath. Let the breath become feeling. Let the feeling become the doorway. Sleep now as the old reality loosens its hold. Sleep now as the bridge forms beneath your feet. Sleep now as the version of you who already belongs there begins to breathe through you. And when morning comes, do not ask whether the shift has begun. Listen closely. The new reality may already be whispering your name.